scheduled meeting. We'll follow our agenda this evening. There are copies in the back of the room if you'd like to follow along with us. And we'll start by standing, please, and joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Councilman Poole will offer an invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Our Father, all wise and everlasting God, we thank you for another opportunity to come as a board, as a town council, to do the business of the town. We can't do it without you being in our midst. Guide us and help us to do that which is right, that will be pleasing in the eyesight of the citizens and the eyesight of God. Help us to improve our weaknesses. Help us to show that this town is a prosperous town, that we may work together and prosper together. We ask these and all other blessings in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have minute approval of previous meetings as shown on the agenda, and the chair would entertain a motion to approve both the April 22nd, May 28th, and May 14th.
So moved, Mayor.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, corrections, additions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Very good. We'll move now into our committee reports for tonight. 3 of our committees have reports to make: Administrative, Public Works, and Utilities. So we'll begin with Administrative Committee, and that's chaired by Councilman Biggs. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. We only have 2 items on the agenda tonight, and they're 2 fairly easy ones. It is recommended that the council approve the amendment to the personnel policy to create the position of a temporary fellow as it was presented, and I will put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to amend the personnel policy to that effect. Any questions or comments?
Comments, please pass it. We got somebody.
Yeah.
And when does she start?
She's in training right now at the UNC School of Government, and I believe August 1st is the first date.
Yeah. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, thank you on that one.
And second, it's recommended that the council support the Edenton Fire Department's prevention promotion campaign as it was presented to us. As y'all remember, Chief Bass gave a great presentation the other night, and I would also put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to support the fire department's prevention campaign. Any further questions, comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Very good.
That's all we got.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we'll hear from Public Works, and that's chaired by Councilman Stallings, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 items on the agenda tonight, and the first one, it is recommended that council adopt a resolution strengthening critical drainage and water quality infrastructure as presented. We talked about it at our other meeting. And I will put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the resolution for the critical drainage and water quality infrastructure. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right.
And our second item is, it is recommended that council approve a grant agreement with the NCDEQ for East Edenton Street stormwater improvements as presented. And I will put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the grant agreement for the East Eden Street stormwater project. Questions? Comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Very good. Motion carries.
And the third and final, it is recommended that council approve a grant agreement with this NCDEQ again for stormwater feasibility study as presented, and we talked about that at our committee meeting as well. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the grant agreement for the stormwater feasibility study. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Very good.
That's all we have, Mayor.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Next, we'll hear from our Utilities Committee chaired by Councilman Bond, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have one item. It is recommended that council approve a resolution accepting terms and conditions of NCDEQ Water System Asset Inventory and Assessment Grant as presented. We went over this last committee meeting. I put it as a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the resolution for the NCDEQ Water System Asset Inventory and Assessment Grant. Any further questions or comments?
That's a tongue twister.
It is. You got that right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right. And I'd like to add a comment following all those votes. Every one of them has to do with problems that have been identified over recent months and maybe even periods longer than that relate to both stormwater issues and improving the drainage thereof, as well as our drinking water. So there's a lot of work going on, and I just want to make sure that everyone within the sound of our voice knows that these matters are being tended to. A lot of times, projects underground and out of sight are hard to follow, but again, there's quite a bit of money involved with the motions that were just passed, so we got plenty of help with grants and other assistance, so these projects will be done in a timely way. So just an FYI on that. Okay, thank you. Moving now to new business. Anne Marie, would you walk us through those items, please?
Happy to, Mayor. The first item is the approval or the adoption of a water and sewer small capital project ordinance. And in your agenda review memo, we explained to you that one of the things that we learned from the LGC coach team visits with us was when we have capital projects that are expected to last more than one fiscal year, it's a lot easier from a financial standpoint, a budgeting standpoint, if you were to adopt a capital project ordinance that separates those small projects out of the water and sewer fund. At the end of the fiscal year, it's really hard for us. It's a challenge to try to project how much money is going to be spent by June 30, and then how much are we going to need to budget for you to adopt in the subsequent year. And this tool is going to be a big help to us. You remember you adopted a similar ordinance in the general fund. It's recommended that projects that are expected to cost more than $25,000 and cross over into more than one fiscal year be put into this capital project ordinance. So Virginia has prepared the ordinance for you, and it lists most of those projects that you just approved the grant agreements for. And it also includes the budget transfer because some of those grants require a match from the town. So the budget transfer appropriates the money from water and sewer that will serve as the town's match, and that will go into the project ordinance as well.
Okay, any questions or comments about that?
Just a comment. I think anytime that we can do something that the LGC recommends to make us look better in their eyes, we need to do it.
Absolutely.
I think we're looking better all the time, are we not? Sure.
We're trying. Yep. We did. We had a good visit. We got a good report that you saw
Outstanding.
from the
Yeah.
follow-up, so yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Chair will call for a motion to adopt that ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, thank you, ma'am.
All right, Mayor, and a lot of these grants are highly technical in nature and will require us to hire our engineers to help us implement the grants to do the stormwater feasibility study, to do the engineering plans for the East Eden stormwater improvements projects. So we have the first task order is from the Wooten Company for their work to do the stormwater feasibility study for the town. And so we recommend approval of that.
All right, Chair would ask for a motion for that approval.
So moved, Mayor.
All right, motion and a second to approve the task order for engineering services for stormwater feasibility. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Very good.
And Mayor, the next item is another task order, and this is for the engineering services for the East Eden Street stormwater improvements. And the task order is submitted on behalf of the Wooten Company.
Okey-doke. The task order, need a motion to approve that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Very good. And the last one.
The last one is for the grant that you received to install a new bulkhead along Queen Anne Creek at East Water Street. And the Wooten Company has done a lot of work, a lot of engineering work for us in that area, particularly focused on the stormwater pump station. So it makes sense for them to help us administer this grant as well. And we recommend approval of the task order for the Wooten Company to do the engineering work for the East Water Street bulkhead. In their task order, they did include engineering inspections and construction observation. I don't think we're going to need a lot of that unless there's unless a conflict is discovered with some underground utilities. But I expect that Corey and his team will be able to do a lot of that day-to-day work, and that you won't need to spend all of that money.
Okay, thank you. Chair would entertain an order to approve that task order.
So moved, Mayor.
Motion, I'm sorry.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to approve the task order for the East Water Street bulkhead extension. Questions or comments?
Just glad they're doing it.
Me too.
That will help his area of town with it.
Yeah,
Return job
there's
there.
been so much work done with that pump station, and the fact that we're doing that extra holding facility on East Eden Street, it should be very, very, very much improved next time we get a... You had a pretty good test this past 2 or 3 days, didn't you? How'd everything hold up? Good, okay. All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Very good. We're now at item 7, items considered timely and important. Council members, this is for you. If you have anything you'd like to share with your colleagues, please do so.
Mayor, I thought you did a good job reading the Declaration of Independence. I
Thank
commend
you.
on that. Great job.
Thank you very much. I told someone there that morning, I said, this is the first time I've read this document since I had to. And that's a long time ago. But it really is very profound. And I would encourage anybody who hadn't read it in a while to go back and do it, particularly in the area of the list of grievances. I mean, they were very articulate in spelling out the things they did not like in terms of treatment by the Great Britain The
They roll over
Empire
in their
and the
graves if they
King.
could come back today, wouldn't
Yeah, really would. But,
they? Hood did a good job as well. He did an excellent job, I
yeah,
thought.
Joseph Hughes was quite the guy.
Yes, he was.
I asked Hood to send me a copy of what he presented that day. I'd like to read it
Yeah.
in a more quiet time where I can take some of it in. But anyway, thank you for that. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share with the group?
Anything going on with speed cushions on South Oakham?
Yeah, we've got those in. We're planning on doing them installed in the next 2 weeks. We're just working on determining location.
And you'll put up appropriate signage warning. Okay.
Anything else?
Do we have any further information on the street paving?
We are working on with USDA on all of the requirements that we'll need in order to secure their approvals. We kind of hit a bump in the road. Originally, USDA thought that we would not need to do an environmental assessment, which could take up to 30 to 45 days because we were under the threshold of funding, but the state engineer for USDA has said that we need to do that assessment. So we're talking to the Wooten Company to see how long that will take, but we're also seeking proposals from the banks to see if their financing would come close to what USDA would offer, and that way we would avoid having any more of a delay, but we should know that within the next week or so.
If it's approved, we'll probably throw the project in the late fall and winter one.
It will be really pushing it to have any paving done in the late fall if we have to wait on USDA. If we can get a good price, and I've heard from some of our local businesses that are doing some big bank deals. There's one bank that is offering fantastic rates, so that's why we kind of jumped on that option.
Okay.
But we'll keep you posted. We're pushing. We are pushing.
Anything else? Okay, time for public comment. Anyone here this evening that would like to address the town council on whatever's on your mind, we'd be happy to hear from you. All we ask is that you take the podium and identify yourself, and we'd be happy to hear you.
If you could just provide a real quick update on the brew pub, the hotel, and the water. Thanks.
Mayor, you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Start. Okay. The brew pub, the developer, Mr. Glover, he wired all the funds to his attorney on June 28th, and those funds were in turn wired to our attorney's trust account. So the funds are in place. They approved the deed. The mayor has signed the deed. But they did, at the last minute, want to have a little bit of time to investigate environmental issues, and we are working with Mr. Glover's environmental consultant, who happened to be the same fellow that helped us when we had to do some cleanup on the property years ago. So hoping everything is going to be finalized any day now. The water treatment plant, I don't think you were here at our last meeting, but Corey gave a PowerPoint, an update as of 2 weeks ago, what the contractor is doing on site at the Beaver Hill water treatment plant. A lot of the demolition work had been completed and the interior flooring work was underway. And Corey, I don't know if you can give a quick update of the construction since that date.
Well, most of the electrical conduit has been installed for all the instrumentation and the controls for inside the plant. And the most recent conversation that I have with Envirotech is actually picking the vessel in pipe color. So just got that today. But they should have poured all the concrete for the interior floor, and the addition to the building this week, if not, beginning of next week.
It's all good news.
Yes, so good progress going forward.
And the plan is, or the contractor will finish with Beaver Hill on or around October 15th, and then that plant will be put online, and that plant can supply all of the drinking water that is needed to meet the capacity of the town, and so that all of that water will be in compliance. And then he'll start on the upgrades and renovations to the Freemason plant, which, when that is finished, that will recycle those two plants in and out of service.
The hotel is pretty much where we were last time we were asked, and that is Saga Development Company is negotiating with one bank. At an earlier time, they had identified 3 banks that they were talking with, and that number went to 5, and now it's back to 1. I guess from a good news perspective, it's the same bank that came with them originally. No, it's the second bank that came with them. The first bank that came was from California. But that's all I know now, but I plan to call the Saga office again here very soon, and next time we gather here, I'll have a better update for you. But
That's all good news, and thank you for the updates.
yes, sir. You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
Can I get a quick update on Kadich? People keep asking me about that.
Sure.
Yeah, so I thought, I didn't think about it just then, but we've been working with the Kadich Church on Gale Street and the restoration of that really historic building. And, I'm happy to report we've hired a fundraiser. They are in place. They are actively meeting with people. We've had a complete structural report done. We know the cost, what it's going to cost to do everything. We found out that the windows really are Tiffany that they will put in there. And I think it gets more exciting each time we find out anything about that building. It's also, I think, probably the largest single religious space in the county. And everybody on that committee is working really, really hard. We're having, meetings weekly with the development person from Washington, D.C. And I'm just really, really encouraged. So if we can, save that building, I think it'll just be a huge benefit for this community.
Thank you, Sambo. Anyone else in the audience have anything they'd like to bring to our attention? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting, which leads to adjournment. Take a motion to do so.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your summer. We'll see you in late July.